Hey, my name's Rajesh. I'm a multifamily lender based in Los Angeles, and what I like to do is look at multifamily properties based in the Los Angeles area and figure out ways to make it cash flow or make sense as a long-term investment for the investor. And some of those strategies are investor focused, some of those other strategies are owner occupied focused. And in today's video, I will be looking at it from an owner-occupier perspective. So let's get started. Yesterday, we took a look at, I believe it was this place for $1.2 million. Yes, it is a triplex. And we figured that by doing it as a DSCR loan, as a pure rental property, you could walk away with roughly 8.5 or $8.7 million. Let's take a look at it from another approach as owner occupied. So let's see what it's going to take to make sure that we can afford to buy this as an owner occupied property. And so we go over to LA Mortgage Dude / multi-generational loans and look at options for purchasing this as owner occupied. If I recall correctly from yesterday, it was roughly $175 as the yearly income. And to all the viewers saying, "Oh my God, who earns $175,000 a year? If I earned $175,000 a year, I would never buy this property." Yeah, it's because you think like that that you would never buy this property. There are several ways to get to $175,000. One being like a software engineer, like an entry-level software engineer at one of the big tech giants. The other is, two people in the family earning roughly $85,000 a year. Maybe one's earning 90, one's earning $85,000. And in Los Angeles, that's not too difficult. Let's just do some quick math here. So let's say one person is earning $90,000 a year, divide that by 12, that's $7,500 a month. So let's see, Los Angeles area jobs that pay $7,500 a month. And for the record, my gardener earns about $8,000 a month, charging $40 a month to his clients. That's gross. And when we do income qualification on a property, we look at adjusted gross income, not the net. So there's Reddit right here. Let's see what Indeed says, because this is probably a more reliable source of performance marketing manager, $90,000 to $120,000 a year. Financial specialist, real estate agent, that's commission based. Zillow flex agent, outside sales. So these tend to be like all financial and sales. Wholesale mortgage underwriting manager. This was totally unplanned. Canvassing manager, looks like sales as well. Attorney, junior associate. Tax partner, financial professional, mortgage loan officer. So let's see here. Experience level, education, no education required. Let's see here. Let's see blue collar jobs. All right, blue collar jobs in Los Angeles. Vice President of Operations, service professional. This is pest control, city of Walnut. Industrial footwear and workwear sales representative. So you're in sales, you can do $90,000 a year. Let's see what 7,500 a month divided by 172.333 hours is $43 an hour. So let's go back to Reddit maybe. Union crew work in film and TV. So that's blue collar. OnlyFans performer. That's 3 years ago, so maybe that number has dropped. Here we go. Blue collar skills. Plumbing, electrical, welding, mechanic, AC repair, software engineering, health, aerospace. If you find a job in these industries, this is where you would look into in one of these industries, and you would make roughly $90,000 a year. Paralegal and teacher. So let's see Los Angeles teacher average salary. $69,000, $70,000 a year. So that means if you were to get married to somebody earning $100,000 a year, bam, you're there. And this is February 2025. This is 71,000 right there. This one says average teacher for a salary is $79,000. 21% higher than the national average. Top earners have reported making up to $134,000 a year. So that's one. Let's see. Cop salary in Los Angeles average. $97,000 a year, $46 an hour. Top earners earning $197,000 a year. So if you and your partner combined earned $175,000 a year, you're golden. Now that's just with two people. Now let's say we had to divide up $175,000 divided by 3. So that's $58,000 a year. So maybe you live in one unit, your in-laws live in another unit, and the third unit you rent out. So that's one possibility as well. So either way, the total adjusted gross income has to add up to $172,000 a year. And I believe with this property, it was Zillow average rent Lawndale. So now what we're going to do is figure out how much rental income we can get here per unit. So we have 2 1-bedroom units and 1 3-bedroom unit. And if you go down here, you can see that right there. We just by doing some basic math. So 5 beds, 4 baths. And then we have detached duplex provides 2 private 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. So if the back units have 1 bedroom, 1 bath each, that means the main unit has 3 beds, 2 baths. Now that means private bathrooms for each of the families. Now you're going to be sharing a kitchen, and depending on how well you get along with your in-laws, you might decide, hey, it's better if we each take the back units and rent out the main unit for $38.95. So let's see what that would look like. $18.75 plus $18.75 is $37.50. So that might still be better than splitting the main unit. So gross rents are $38.95 because that's what we're going to count here. Other monthly debts, I'm going to put 0, assuming you guys are good with your money. And on a property that costs $1.2 million, right? let's see what the property taxes would be. 2 times 1.25% is $15,000 a year. And we're going with FHA because that's going to give you the max leverage. Even as a first-time home buyer on a conventional loan where you only had to put 3% down, which means your down payment is going to be about 0.5% lower than on the FHA loan. The mortgage insurance, the private mortgage insurance premium on a conventional loan is 1.75% a year, whereas on FHA loan, it's only 0.5%, roughly 0.55% of the loan amount per year. Hazard insurance, that sounds about right. Interest rate on an FHA loan, 5.375 is roughly where it's at. I'm actually going to put 5.75%. That way you don't have to worry about any of the closing costs. The rebate will cover some of that closing cost, and then you can get the rest in seller credits. And I say that because this property has been on the market for 102 days, more than 3 months, so the seller may be willing to negotiate. And let's say between the four of you, you each have, let's say, $15,000 saved up, and you've got $60,000 right there. So your qualifying income as a whole, including the rental income, is $17,000 a month. Your total debts are $1,383, which consist of property taxes and insurance. And your max mortgage payment is $6,800 a month. Your max loan amount is $1,884,000. And that means the base loan amount without the upfront mortgage insurance is $1,065,000. Your mortgage insurance will be roughly $500 or $497 to be specific, and your upfront mortgage insurance will be $18,000. That's a max LTV of 96.5%, not counting the upfront mortgage insurance. Your max price using rental income is $1.1 million, and your max price using liquidity based on the $60,000 that you have is $1.7 million. Your max down payment here would be $39,000. So we're still a little short of this $1.2 million figure, right? So how much more would you have to earn? So $175,000 is not enough. What if we go 185? Does that change anything? Almost. We're at 1.18. So that's 1.20. Let's delete this. 1.20 minus 118,849. We're $11,000 short. Do you think that after 3 months on the market, the seller is willing to lower the price by roughly $12,000 just to sell the property quicker? I have to imagine the holding cost, and here you can see the monthly payment right here, $7,000. Every month that he's holding it, he's paying $7,000 a month roughly. Even if he bought the property back in, let's see here, when was this property last purchased? Listed for sale. It doesn't indicate when any sales before that. It just shows public tax history, but it does not say where exactly it was purchased. However, by looking at the tax assessment, we can see that the property taxes are fairly low, so he must have bought the property a long time ago. So this person is probably it's probably already paid off, so their holding costs are fairly minimal. So that strategy might not work, but on the other hand, it might, depending on what they need the money for. So this is not bad. So let's say you are able to get the home for this price, and you have $60,000, let's say you don't have 60,000. Let's say you had the original $42,000, right? Well, your down payment at this price is $41,589. And like I said, you're going to use a combination of seller and lender credits, assuming you cannot get any more lender credits, let's say, or seller credits. Let's say we take this up to 5.875, right? Well, that dropped the maximum purchase price. You're going to have to come up with a little bit more cash out of pocket to meet that old one. So this was 5.75 right here. So your down payment has to be is 41,589, which means your loan amount is 1.146. So if we go to 5.875, it's 1.32. So you're probably going to have to come up with $8,000 more in the down payment, or sorry, $14,000 more. So if we went back to the original $60,000, that would cover it. So what was the purchase price right here? We are saying that it is 1.188249, and I'm going to show you why this is still worth it. And here is the property address. Let's get that right there. And for those of you who speak Spanish, you're probably giggling at the name of the street. And I don't blame you. I'm trying my best to hide my laughter as well. Alright, so here is the purchase price. Realtor commissions 3%. Down payment, we were going with 3.5%. Interest rate, we went 5.75%. Fully amortized, because that's how FHA loans work. And mortgage insurance, yes, we were doing, let's see what this was, 526, I believe. Yeah, 526. That number is way too big right there. How did that happen? Mortgage insurance seems to be, oh, this is for the year, right? Okay, so mortgage insurance is showing up a little bit too much right there. So let's say this is 506.26. 526 times 12, 6312. Yeah, that's not making sense. I'll figure out another way to do that, but let's keep moving forward. Projected ARV will still be the purchase price, which is 1.188. You've got 3 units, but you're only going to be renting 1, and you're going to be renting that for $38.95. You've got a vacancy. Let's say you've got about an 8% vacancy. Let's actually say a 10% vacancy. All right. Now, when doing the math, we calculate it at 20. When doing the math, underwriting, we count only 75% of the rental income. But when doing projections over the lifetime, we assume that you're going to be responsible landlords and that you're going to strive to keep vacancy less than 25%. On rentals, they tend to be around 8 to 10% of the lifetime. So let's see here. Hazard insurance, we agreed with that. Legal, this was stuff that was not counted here, by the way. So these are other expenses. Maintenance cost $350 a month. So let's see here. Net operating income, roughly. Net cash flow, you're losing $60,000. That means you're paying $60,000 a year just to keep this building. So let's say here $60,000 divided by 12. You're spending $5,000 a month on housing. Divided by 2 families, you're paying $2,500 a month to own a triplex each. And so you're also able to write off this income from your taxes. And let's see what the exit will be in 30 years. And the exit is basically the property goes up in value, and after you've paid off your debt, property goes up in value, right? Over 30 years, it's going to go from 1.19 million all the way up to $11 million, based on an 8% appreciation, which is historically accurate for both Lawndale and Los Angeles. And then we're going to look at monthly rents. It may start off at $38.95, but 30 years from now, the rent's likely going to be $9,600 a year. A month. And if you were to add up all that income over 30 years, you're looking at roughly $2.3 million. Now, same thing with the expenses. You've got costs that you've got to take account of that also go up with inflation, such as property taxes, hazard insurance, legal costs, maintenance costs. All those costs increase every year. Property taxes actually will not go up to $130,000. They're roughly going to stay at about $20,000 a year, somewhere between $15,000 to $20,000 a year, thanks to Prop 13 in California. But assuming a dent, let's look at what those total costs add up to over the 30 years, and you're looking at roughly $2 million. So in rent, you earned about $2.3 million, but you're also spending about $2 million. So you're left with about $200,000 in profit. And that's over 30 years. That's cumulative. Now look at the debt service. You're going to be spending about $2.5 million in just debt service. Now, this debt service also accounts for principal. I want you to be aware of that. This is not just the interest. This is also the principal or the equity payments. You're spending about $2.5 million. In interest, if you were to look at interest only, you're actually spending about $1.26 million. And the building depreciation is, this is the cost of the building or the purchase price spread out over 27.5 years. On this calculator, it does it over 30 years. And despite that, despite losing money every year to the tune of roughly $60,000, you're still making money when you and your family decide to sell it in 30 years, just because the equity appreciation has grown so much. So if you look at net equity, which is all is the value of the building minus the equity that you put into it plus the appreciation, you're left with actually $8.5 million, because you've spent $2.5 million acquiring this $1.19 million property. That includes, again, principal and interest. And so what you're left with, after you deduct the losses in the cash flow, after you deduct all the principal payments and interest payments on the loan, you're left with a building that is worth $5.6 million. But here is the key. Yesterday, when I analyzed the same property, you put down roughly $360,000, 20%, I believe. Yeah, no, you put down 30% on this property. So this was roughly $360,000 down. And your cash on cash return was 2,800%. And you walked away with $8.5 million. However, with this property as owner occupied, what you're doing is you're putting down significantly less. You're actually only putting down about $42,000 here. And your cash on cash return is 4,800%. So you're putting down less cash, and the return you're getting on it, the multiplier that you're getting on it is 4,800%. So which would you rather do? Would you rather put down $1 and get back $4,800, or would you rather put down 360 divided by 42,000 is, let's see the difference in multiplier here. 360,000 divided by 42,000 is $8. Would you rather put down $8, $8.50, and get back 2,800% of that? So 8.57 times 2,800%, $239. So when you think of it in terms like that, that's what you're looking at. So let's say you have $1, right? And you multiply it by 4,800%, you get back $48. So you can put in $1, you get back $48, or you put in $8.50 and you get back $238. There's no right or wrong answer here. There is what opportunity is available to you at this current moment based on your current position. That's the way I look at it. And in either case, you still end up winning here. Because let's say the rents were $1,800, right? You're saying rents are $1,875 a month, and you're paying $2,500. Each family's paying $2,500 just to live here, right? And that's more than $1,875. But in 10 years, you're both at $2,500 a month regardless. Whereas if you'd stayed here at $38.95 and you'd gone about it this way, right? Your monthly payments stay at $66.91 for the life of the loan. That's just the mortgage payments. Now, when you do the offset right here, $66.91 minus $38.95, you're at $2,800 a month. Split that by 2 people, you're at $1,400 a month. That's just principal and interest, not counting property taxes and insurance. And as far as insurance goes, that stays at $1,600, and in your 30th year, that's $63.35, right? So $63.35 divided by, and this is on a yearly basis, divided by 12, so that's $527. So $527 plus the $1,400 is $1,927, which is similar to what your current rent would be. And as far as property taxes go, again, this calculator is wrong here, but I'm just not smart enough to program it better. But it would be roughly at $15,000 to $20,000 a year. So let's go 20,000 divided by 12. That's 1666 divided by 2, 833 plus what did we say? 1,400 plus 500, so 2,700 a month, roughly 2,500 a month each, right? 2,700 a month. That's your yearly. That's your rent, so to speak. So this is one strategy that you can use to grow wealth for your family. And once you guys save up enough, you're able to pull the equity out of this home by refinancing it and using it as a down payment for a bigger home, and then continue renting this out. So you've essentially got your first home for free after you do the refinance. And the way to figure out the best point to refinance is to, as we went over in yesterday's video, would be to add the down payment to the loan amount, no, to the purchase price, add the loan amount, or add the down payment to the purchase price, and then divide by the max cash out amount allowed, which is 80% on an FHA loan and a conventional loan for owner occupied. If you're doing it as an investment property, but if you're doing it as an investment property, you probably want to go non-QM or non-qualified mortgage and try to get that max leverage on the loan, which would still be about 80 to 85%. You can also do it as a HELOC. Many HELOC products go up to 85% now. So let's say we want 1188249 plus $42,000, which is what you put for your down payment. Now we're going to divide that by 80% and figure out the price or the value of the home that it has to be in order for you to do a cash out refi and pull out your $42,000. And in this case, it's 1.537. So if we look at it here, it's usually in the 5th year when you can do the property, when you can do the cash out refinance and take your original down payment out. So, and at that point it would be 1.745 million, which is more than the 1.53 million, leaving you enough equity, and you might even be able to qualify for a conventional mortgage at that point and lower your payment even more, because now you don't have to worry about mortgage insurance.